All right, I'd like to call the meeting of the Planning Committee on June 16th to order. Roll call, please.
Brad Ray,
Here.
Terrence Van Buren,
Here.
George Bousset,
Here.
Elizabeth Franick. Elizabeth Franick, are you online? Okay. And Elizabeth Jarrett, Gary Mertig,
Here.
Paul Wilharm,
Here.
Dan Grady,
Here.
Lissa Radke, and Charlie Ortman.
Here.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Approval of the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda. Wilharm will second.
Got a motion to approve in a second. Any discussion? Changes, additions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye. All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment pertinent to the agenda items, resolutions, ordinance of the day, 3 minutes. Only person in the public I see is Bruce. Do you have something just here to? Awesome. Thanks. Thanks for being here.
Can I be public comment?
You can be.
As the county grant writer, just wanted to give everybody a heads up that our grant for paying lovely NWRPC people to help us with the comp plan, we need a second public hearing on that in a county board meeting. And so I have scheduled that for our next county board meeting on Tuesday, the 23rd. It's got 4 agenda items. It's very, very short. I simply have to give a bulleted list of what we've done, what we have left to do, a couple of other items, and then we have to open it up for public comment. This is for the grant purposes only, so people can share what they feel about the work that we've done so far, absolutely. But we will also have 2 more public meetings about this, about the comp plan itself. We have planned the open house and then the final public comment period before the board actually votes the plan into place. So wanted to let everybody know that's coming up.
Thank you. Any other public comment online in the room? Anything else? All right, with that, we'll go to
The board packet does have all of the comments that have been received through the extension email address. So those are all comments received to date on the comprehensive plan.
perfect.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I have a question on those comments. Is that 2046 on top of the year?
That would be because this comprehensive plan update is
Okay,
the 2026 through 2046 plan.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no more public comment, we'll go on to item 4, which is approval of the minutes from the meeting that I got elected chair and was not at.
Move to approve.
Second. I'd like to have some discussion about what went on in this meeting.
Well, now you can ask for it.
So Charlie, I thought you were going to be the chair. Oh. It's not that easy.
Is there a second?
It's not on the agenda.
There is, okay.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda though.
Oh, okay. Anyway, any edits, changes? Then all those in favor of the minutes as presented?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On to discussion and action items number 5A, future land use map review. And we have our GIS. I'll hand it over.
Sure. Hey, everybody. I brought along a copy of the draft future land use map. We had some conversations with Bruce and Dan about, what what their thoughts were. As the map I brought in, it's only has two classifications in it. Those would be the natural areas, which would be any publicly owned land, tribal land, areas for conservation. And then the other classification is the rural and developed any areas, which is anything that isn't the things I mentioned. And then it has an overlay of the farmland preservation area from the recently completed farmland preservation plan on it as well. So I guess any discussion from the committee on going this route? The consensus from Bruce and Dan was they wanted to keep it kind of loose, not loose, but not, I don't know how to describe it. Not as restrictive, yes, as some of the neighboring counties.
And easier to read.
Yes.
And then this is a map that can be amended over time, and it follows with the goals and objectives in the land use chapter, but all of the chapters of the comprehensive plan. So you have the countywide future land use map, which will be based on the existing land use, what's currently happening in Ashland County today. So this is an idea of what you would like the future of Ashland County to look like. So it's meant to inform the zoning map. It's different than the zoning map, but it's meant to inform your future decisions. So it's supposed to be representative of the spatial decision-making for the county.
I'm just kind of glancing at it and see like Big Bay State Park and the town park that's right there next to it looks yellow instead of, is it because it's just not big enough to be a recreation area, so the natural area, or is, no?
Probably there. You probably.
This is not zoomed in. I was always thinking Big Bay was a pretty big area between the. Okay.
This is Brittany. It also appears that Copper Falls State Park is not green now that you mention it.
Yeah, I wonder if those pixels, I think the state parks should fall under the natural area and probably even like town parks if possible. But I know like in the city of Ashland, it doesn't look like there's anything, but those are going to be really small parcels, so probably not. But like Copper Falls is actually pretty, yeah, Copper Falls probably should be, there should probably be some green based off of that there.
Sure. I'll double check my query. It might have just been named differently than, you know, the query I used to pull out the publicly owned land. So I'll double check on that for sure.
I personally like the simplified version as opposed to all the different categories where we were wondering how it fit into those different ones. So I think this is a good map. Any other comments on this, Charlie?
I feel like I read that the National Apostle Islands Lakeshore has now become a park. Can anybody back me up or deny that?
There is,
No.
it's a national lakeshore currently. So that the green is appropriate for all that except for Madeline Island. However, there is a bill going through the Congress right now and that proposes to make it a national park, but there has not necessarily been any movement towards that. I don't think it's even left committee, right?
They're trying to stick it to the Interior Appropriations Bill,
Okay.
but
It wouldn't change the color anyway, though, would it?
No.
it'll die in the Senate, so. And they'll be passing a continuing resolution like they did here. So it doesn't have much chance.
Go ahead, Liz.
I didn't bring my plan with me this time, but in part one, are there maps of the other designated land uses, like a map of housing, map of recreational trails or transportation? Because it seems like in a land use chapter and a comprehensive planning document, there should be maps of the 9 elements. So I just refresh my memory if there are maps of other assets besides the natural resources that you just described.
Yeah, I'm working on those right now. Actually, I haven't completed them, but there's the functional classification which is like transportation map, some natural resource maps. Yeah, there's a slew of them that I just haven't completed yet.
Okay, so they're separate maps, even though not all of those elements are on that map, but they're maps in the doc. Okay, thanks.
This is the map that would be meant to inform your zoning decisions.
But good to highlight that we should
Mhm.
have
Especially
other maps.
Like
So,
environmental constraints.
yeah. Anything else? Wonderful. Thank you for your work. Move on to 5B, which is the goals and objectives review.
And then we'll pick up where we left off at the last meeting. It was with the natural resources goals objectives. And that's page 16, Carisha. And these are, when she gets to that, the font that's in black, that is directly from the 2026 Farmland Preservation Plan goals and objectives. But there were some revisions suggested by planning committee members for those, which we can incorporate into the comprehensive plan.
Where is it?
My email that I sent this afternoon or this morning. And then it's page 16. And then I believe these are also on your shared drive for everyone.
Thought so too.
It's also in the May packet, if anybody has their tablet.
It is in the May packet. Oh, I'm in the June pack.
Yep, that's it.
Hey, can you make that a little
Everyone
bigger?
find it? Are you ready? So these are from the 2026 Farmland Preservation Plan with some edits using track changes from planning committee members. Natural resources goal number 1,
Bigger on the screen.
preserve and protect the county's natural resource base from potential degradation, contamination, or inappropriate uses that permanently harm the resources. Suggestions? Page,
Grisha,
maybe,
it's page 12 of the PDF.
a little bit farther. That's a previous version, it looks like. Do you have what I sent? I could share my screen. It'll be different than the one from last time because it incorporates the edits received since the last meeting.
Can you send that as an email?
Liz, it's also on the packet for the May packet, but there's some edits to it from people that did their homework.
Okay.
I made you a co-host, Emily.
Okay, I need to get to the right screen. Okay.
So that's the one. Yeah. Oh. That's Emily's got that. All right, there's the goal on the screen now.
So goal number 1, preserve and protect the county's natural resource base from potential degradation, contamination, or inappropriate uses that permanently harm the resources.
Yeah, by all means. George, you say it is. I was on the same thing as I didn't know if it needed that word because. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, it strikes me that sometimes there are trade-offs. And
True.
sometimes it may be a priority to permanently damage a limited resource for a higher cost. So I kind of like it, but I think it's not necessary.
That's the word like that doesn't like again, one person means it's inappropriate to one person, not inappropriate to another. And that's where I go. I understand what you're saying, George, but I think it's captured without the word because that's going to be the county saying, hey, we don't want permanently damage or harm the resource.
I agree.
But we understand that there's sometimes that there's going to be some sort of mitigation that will go along with any permanent that would happen.
No, I agree. It's better without it.
Okay.
And then the supporting objectives, A, increase collaboration with local or regional organizations and with the Bad River Tribal Council and other tribal entities. B, encourage the preservation and protection of environmental corridors, forests, habitat for fish and wildlife, water quality values, habitat protection, and the ecosystem.
Can you add "and" there after fish? Just since, like you just said it, I think that works
yeah.
better.
Any other changes? You just say water quality?
Yeah, I think water quality is good enough. We don't need values.
Are you looking at ground and surface water quality?
I don't even want to go down the road of saying how much phosphorus we want in water because that varies based off a system. EPA tried to do that once nationwide and that just doesn't work.
Are you looking at your lakes, rivers, streams?
It strikes me that this is under the umbrella of not causing permanent harm. And everything included in this plan empowers us to take action under this plan. So in some ways, you want it a little bit broad.
Can you use your microphone? Sorry. Thank you.
Maybe remove, habitat protection. So encourage the preservation and protection of habitat. Do we want to say wildlife habitat or?
We already have fish and
natural
wildlife habitat.
Or just habitat?
Should we remove this bullet then, since there's habitat for fish and wildlife?
We have human habitat too.
True, but I think have an ecosystem, water quality, habitat for fish and wildlife, forest, and environmental corridors kind of captures. I think habitat is just redundant. That all that stuff is habitat.
Right.
Water quality, fish and wildlife habitat, forest, environmental corridors. It's all habitat. So, and we already say protection, or to protect natural resources above. So, yeah, that's probably a better way to do it.
Ecosystems.
Right. I would argue humans are just the users of natural resources and are not part of the natural resource.
And then fittingly, C is encourage the sustainable use of natural resources. Keep it.
Yes.
D, use educational methods that protect natural resources and encourage development practices that support the natural resource goal. Example, low density lake development.
We good with that one? Any comments? Okay.
E, encourage the sustainable harvest of forest products. See the economic development section.
Is that redundant with C?
Yeah.
I don't. Oh, yep.
Perhaps we could add the word restorative or sustainable, or just replace sustainable with restorative. Seeing as
Do you say restorative?
right now, some of our habitat is very endangered, so sustaining it at an endangered rate may not be as
Well,
high-reaching as we think.
When we're talking about use of it, though, typically we're wanting to make sure that we're using it so that it maintains in the sustainable way, where restoration is not going to necessarily allow for the use, and it's going to be the encouragement of the preservation. And so I think they're different objectives.
How about the word regenerative then? Because really sustainable isn't the highest bar anymore and may not be as aspirational as we might want to be in this plan.
Should we change that in C?
I just prefer the word, or adding it if we don't want to be too aspirational, like we'll be happy with sustaining, but we could shoot for even regenerative or restorative.
I'm more familiar with sustainable than regenerative, but if regenerative works for the committee, I'm fine with it. That's how I put sustainable at the top, but I don't know if there's new stuff there. I'm set in my old ways on sustainable natural resources. So
I think it is the new stuff. The buzzword that's newer.
go ahead, George.
Are mineral deposits a natural resource?
Yes.
We need to say anything about that.
Well, and that's where I think I think E is redundant to C. And what we want to do is make sure that we're using, are we going to like encourage the regenerative or proper use, however, what we want to say for the word there, of natural resources, I think captures mineral rights and forestry and fish and wildlife and all of that. I think it's just redundant. Go
And
ahead,
keep
George.
that within your action plan.
Okay, I'm just wondering about a couple things that I want to make sure that we've included. So another two things that I think about, I can't think of where we included is air quality. It's a natural resource, but it could be something else. And the aquifer. Now, we really don't have any trouble with water here, but we want to make sure that certain areas of the county would not overdraw the aquifer in their little located places. I don't know if there's anything we can do about it. I'm just brainstorming here.
How about water quantity and quality? Up in B. It's the. No, we just added it.
I just said-
Go ahead, sir.
And maybe we could use sustainable in these different places, but then let's put a asterisk and a thing on the bottom with a definition of what we feel sustainability means.
You did have a definition in your survey.
We did, okay.
Yes.
Well, then, what did it say?
We can look back at that and you could decide if that's fitting for your goals and objectives.
I don't think it had regenerative in the definition. Go ahead, George.
We sort of addressed the mineral question in the overriding objective of not causing permanent damage. And you can use the word responsible if you want to, I suppose.
Yeah, because when you're talking about minerals, we got to remember we mine sand and gravel all the time. So, I mean, the county owns the gravel pit and the sand pit.
I guess I would consider mineral resources to be separate from natural resources.
I'm fine with that, but where would it be included then?
Add another line.
Do you want to include mineral resources? Minerals?
Well, that could be a regenerative one. You want to reclaim the land eventually.
Is there a specific objective that exists now that you'd incorporate that in?
Maybe we could say encourage the regenerative use of natural resources and responsible use of non-regenerative resources.
Better save this.
I appreciate that distinction as well. Nice move, but the other way that we could read letter C, which is a little bit problematic, is just the idea of encouraging the use of our natural resources at all. I don't know why I know that people are queuing into the word sustainable or regenerative, but I don't know why we're encouraging the use unless we say something like lightest use necessary or something like that.
Well, as a natural resources manager in my day job, I would say that the whole point of management is to use the resources. So I think as a county, we should be encouraging the use of the resources, whether it's for recreation or economic value.
As a conservationist, yeah, I don't share that necessarily that viewpoint.
I would call it use of to walk out and enjoy birds on the trail is using the resource. Bird watching is using the resource. You're walking on a trail and we have a trail to do that. But also using the resources, proper forest management, which a lot of times includes logging, at least the understory, to prevent wildfires. brush buildup. Fish resources harvest is good to allow for that, and because there's going to be unintended consequences just from catch and release fishing. So using it is a good source rather than releasing it and wasting it.
Thanks for that viewpoint. I think we could call that appreciating it, you know, appreciating birds as opposed to using them. But just saying that I think you could also look at it as we are like in a precarious situation with a lot of our resources and habit change and learning to live within our Earth's resources and is also a noble goal.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think every forest in Ashland County is an industrial forest, isn't it?
Yeah, and the last bullet of the objective says multiple uses, including forest production, as one of the specifically to the forest lands for multiple uses, which includes all of that.
I don't know if this simplifies or complexifies things, but I did find the definition of sustainability we had in our survey, if people would like that. Sustainability is defined as meeting today's needs without reducing the ability of future generations to meet theirs while caring for our economy, environment, and community.
I think that was a good definition. So how does that then equate that definition to an objective? Because I think it hits the conservation as well as the use in that definition, does it not? Erica, can you read that again?
Defined as meeting today's needs without reducing the ability of future generations to meet theirs while caring for our economy, environment, and community.
So could one of the first objectives then be adopt a standard definition of sustainability, which seems like it meets some of your concerns? Like pass a resolution at some point and say, first adopt that resolution or that definition formally so that you can use the word logically in the rest of your objectives.
Put that as an action step.
You could. I had it as an objective in my mind, just because if it's A, that then sets the values for all the rest of your objectives and your actions. You know what I mean? The definition, adopting the definition is the foundation for the natural resources chapter.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Is that definition not something we did adopt that definition, correct, Erica? The one you just listed?
It's the one that we used in from the survey for the company.
Oh. Okay.
Right now, it's just sort of a definition that's out there that we used in one tool. But I'm just suggesting that it be formally put in here as one of our actions or one of our objectives is we adopt this definition, which then guides the objectives and actions in the chapter.
Can we put in the definition that we
Yeah, we could do
did you
that.
just get it as
Yeah.
as an objective? I think we just put it in as an objective, and then we can say as an action is to formally adopt that. Because we're saying, hey, this is what we think it is, and we can do a formal adoption. But maybe the plan that says here's an objective that formally adopts it anyway.
I could see it either way, but just using that definition as a driver for the chapter. It solves some of our word choices conundrums.
So if you added it as an action step, I'll put that as a note.
Could we also add a definition for regenerative? So people understand the difference.
But does that definition then get the need where we do not need E and C? I think E can go away no matter what. Although we do say C economic development, so if it's in,
But I think
But-
economic development, you have a real focus on some objectives that have to do with your county forest. which
and I
is
think
where-
that G, now the renumbered G has that still with
Yeah,
specifically with the county forest that we're going to do this, where other forest land, it's going to go to the definition is going to fall under, and we get rid of C and E and replace it with the definition of sustainable.
and then how about this definition for regenerative, where is there a source that exists that we could base that off of and present that?
Can you send that to Emily at some point? Perfect.
Thank you. So we'll remove C and E. And the new C then is use educational methods that protect natural resources and encourage development practices that support the natural resource goal. For example, low density lake development.
Yeah, but we're going to put in another one in there that's getting replaced with that new definition that Erica just sent you.
Yes. Which I wrote myself a note since I don't want to open my email since as I share my screen.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Go ahead, Charlie.
I very might well be confused. But are we adding a definition as an action item?
No, the formally adopt the definition that we're going to put it as an objective. We're calling the definition objective. I think the way it was read out, and again, I sometimes need to see things, but it sounded like that could be just put in just like that as an objective.
But there would have to be a verb in it somewhere, right?
I think it had one. It was,
Did it?
We can make it fit the flow.
yeah.
I can see how it could be made an objective. Manage resources in accordance
Right.
with
Yeah.
something like that. That was the intention.
That was the goal, the objective, to make that an objective. And go back to it too, on paper. Right, and I think what that does is get rid of some of the worry about whether we use sustainable or regenerative, whether it's economic development or appreciation, conservation. It's goes back. Right.
So when we're talking about finite resources, we'll probably have to use some different words because they're not restored. You can't grow more of them. I mean, renewable resources are different from finite resources.
True. And when we deleted C there, we took away that little adjustment on the. And I forget what it was.
And
Would it-
then the educational methods objective.
Would it be useful to hear a definition of regenerative right now?
Sure, yeah, if you
Okay.
have one.
Yeah, I do. It says regenerative resource use refers to an approach that goes beyond sustainability by actively restoring and enriching the natural systems we depend on, rather than just aiming to do no harm or slow down depletion. It focuses on renewing materials, improving biodiversity, and leaving ecosystems in a net positive state for future generations.
And you'll email that? Thank you.
Maybe we can put something together for, we have a meeting in like a week or something. Put something together and come back to that once we see it on paper, and maybe combining those two into, I think we can make those things into one objective of how we want to encourage natural resource management in general. And then we get rid of some of this hesitancy on simple use or conservation. So yes, I think we're good now with where we are, but we'll put a note on for the agenda to come back to that definition.
I don't know, it just crossed my mind, to think about the future impacts of climate change, and have we anticipated that here? When certain species may no longer be viable in our environment. Maybe we've covered it, but it's something I hadn't been thinking of. And 20 years from now, climate might be a little bit different.
It might be in one of there are 3 total natural resources goals. It might be under one of those, but otherwise we'll incorporate that. So keep thinking about that.
I'm thinking something about adaptability. Adaptability in the face of potential shifts in climate. We'll call it climate change. We'll call it potential shifts in climate. But adaptability is really important.
George, how about changing weather patterns?
That's a cop out.
That's shorter term thinking.
Well, I'm thinking for like another 2.5 years, then we can go do whatever we
Yeah.
want.
But we're going out 20 years here. And then that's not just weather patterns, that's climate. And it's not a problem. If the climate doesn't change, then it's not a problem. I mean, I agree with you short term, within a 5-year span, talk about changing weather patterns. But when you're talking 10, 20 years out, if the weather patterns just kind of moderate and we're roughly have ups and downs, it's not really a problem. But if there's a permanent shift, then it is a problem.
I agree.
So adaptability is the word I'm thinking about.
I think that should be an objective under this goal. We're talking about preserving and protecting. Part of the sustainability or regenerativeness is to create a resilient community in what's there. And so having something, adaptability or resilience to climate change should probably be some sort of objective.
And I can use the term climate change.
I feel yes.
I,
I'll be fine with climate variability.
so I think that's a wrong thing because it implies that you come back to where we were. But I think it could be,
What's,
it
what
could
it-
be, but.
why is climate
No,
change
no, no,
political?
It's here, it's, what I'm trying to come up with is the potential climate change. So we're not saying it's a certainty.
There
We're
you
saying
go.
it's a risk of potential climate change.
Is everybody okay with that? Climate change is real. I use it as gravity is real. Gravity is a theory. Climate change is real. This is a theory. Climate change is real.
I think the question is, it's become a very hot button political term. And
I know.
that's
I thought
why
that hot
just
button
suggested
political
something
was
that's not
global
gonna
warming.
make half
That was
county angry.
the political term. And climate change was used to get away from that term, which is more accurate.
Yeah. It's just,
Also, initially,
That's weather.
Well, and I know in some of our federal grant applications right now,
Thank
we
you.
have to, where you go ahead, you have better background on that.
There, yeah, for me, the problem comes in that I cannot use that phrase if we are going to
Yeah.
apply for particular grants, if I want to provide justification for something being in a plan. But I think our language is varied enough throughout the plan that if we're not always using climate change, I would be able to find some sort of phrase that authorizes, right, that the county wants to move forward. So.
and I often in my education say changing climate conditions. I mean, you have to soften the blow, I think, because not everyone in the county supports the gravity example or the gravity of climate change.
And remember, it's just a theory. Go ahead, George.
You know, so there are differences in professions. There are climatologists who are not weathermen and weathermen who are not climatologists. But maybe if we talk about trends in weather, that's the same thing as climate.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna blow this up because there are some people who have talked to me that they enjoy what's going on. And I said, what? They said, well, my heating bill the last few winters has been way down. And I said, okay, but what's your summer like? You know, but that's why it's a political issue. There are some people who not only don't believe in climate change, but they see an advantage to what's going on. And I don't know how you argue with those folks. I'm not going to sit there and get into a big fight over it. I just see what's happening out there, but.
I totally agree with Gary. It's not about whether it's good or bad or what the impacts are. It's about having adaptability and resilience. There may be some good things and some bad things, but it's about having adaptability and resilience. And it becomes politicized when some people don't like some other people's solutions, right?
Go ahead, Charlie.
Just want to remind everybody that those pat political phrases that are triggering everybody, they're being searched on, and you could put yourself under a microscope. DEI, there's keywords they're looking at, and then they're focusing based on where they find them and throwing money at or taking away. So we might want to be careful of that.
Go ahead.
Not to be nitpicky about words, but I find in my outreach that resilience is a word that could use a bit of a definition. You know, basically it's restoring something to what it was before a disaster, restoring conditions. But it doesn't mean the same to everybody.
On resilience?
Yeah, I love the word resilience. I use it 40 times a day, but just does everybody know what it means? Like we're trying to just define sustainability or regenerative. There could be a place in here that defines resilience. We understand how these things are being kind of thrown around now, but we're not sure how those words are going to ring in the future.
Well, that's the thing is we're going to put some word in this document that in 10 years is going to be politically charged and we're going to have to remove it. So go
Can,
ahead.
can
Terrence.
we go with changing weather patterns, please?
Changing weather patterns.
Erica, what helps you writing a grant? Do you have terminology that you would use if it wanted to do that right now?
I can look at the lists that I've made. I've honestly created lists of like bad words, good words for the next 3 years. But I will also say that like there's something happening in the federal government where they are also putting out grants for pre-disaster funds. So it's about resilience, it's about building up culverts and highways and everything else, because they still know that disasters on a bigger scale are coming, but they don't want to call it climate change. So I'm sorry, that wasn't very helpful, but I can certainly generate a list if you'd
Yeah,
like me to for next
I
time.
think, put an asterisk on this that will come back that we need something. And if over the next week, if somebody comes up with something that can be tolerable, I still think climate change is what the real thing is. The climate is changing. And I know people are going to disagree, but I use the word that describes it the best. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're doing a 10 to 20-year plan here, and politics is always changing.
Right.
2 years from now, we might really hope we have climate change in the plan.
Right. And so I think, we shouldn't have to worry necessarily about too many words, but yet we don't want to like handcuff us where we can't do something because we say something that is bad right now. So.
And then in your hazard mitigation plan, which I think you're adopting at the next meeting, we use the term climate change.
We adopted our hazard mitigation plan a couple years ago.
Do you have the resolution? Can I get the resolution then?
Yeah, it was like Dorothy.
Yeah.
It was like Dorothy Tank's thing.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, that would be like 3 or 4 years ago.
No, we just updated it. Dorothy helped write the grant for the update, but Christina told me it was on the next county agenda.
No, it's not yet.
Oh, no.
She didn't tell me anything about it.
Okay, well, we need a resolution for the grant closeout.
Okay. All right. Do you have us? I'll
But,
talk to you later.
We did use the term climate change directly in the hazard mitigation plan for the county plan update that was done it was completed in 2025.
I was wondering if we could hear Lissa's recommendation for the terminology to use again, because I thought that was a good one. What do you use instead of climate change?
Well, I got a federal grant, and when I called it extreme weather and temperature conditions. But changing climate conditions is one that extension has moved towards.
Yeah, and that's what we had up there now. And I think that's where we want to go, but yeah, we can,
Changing-
if somebody comes up with something that they think is better for next week, we can pivot. But I think just for the sake of time, we should continue moving on because we still have 2 more goals. Is there any other goals on the preserve and protect the resources? Do we want to go through each of the action steps?
We'll go do that at its own meeting for
Okay.
all of the elements.
Okay. So we'll
So
go to
then
the
there's a second
goal.
goal for natural resources, I believe, which is support land use patterns that protect forests and agricultural lands. Objective A, minimize incompatible land uses. B, maintain the integrity and viability of forestry and forestry-related practices. C, minimize land fragmentation and lot size reduction. D, support the Ashland County Land and Water Resource Management Plan. And E is leverage technology to the greatest extent possible.
I don't know whose comment was there to do what, but I like that comment because I don't know what that means, what that objective means at all. And we want to take credit for that? I agree. Charlie, go ahead.
I have an idea that they meant like, I thought drones, you know, mapping things more carefully, LiDAR, things that give you a real sense of your land as far as the natural resources go. But yeah, clearly that's, do we want to spell that out more, or do we want to be kind of general?
I think there needs to be something added to the objective to make it an objective that we know what it means. It
Well,
doesn't have to be using drones, but it's leveraging technology to the greatest extent possible to ensure
highest and best use. A lot of.
best management practices are implemented to protect forest and agriculture lands.
We
Could
assume
you
or that-
Could you say leverage technology to collect data that drives better decision-making?
That could work.
But there's so much new data out there. You know, I would have to go to the forestry department, see what they're using, and then see what's out there that they're not. And that would be as a layman, but that's what I feel they meant.
Yeah, I think, yeah, and then get rid of the rest of that, just leveraging technology to collect data that drives better decision-making. I think that works. Thank you, Lisa. Go ahead, Kathleen.
But that would also be keeping up with the technology.
Elizabeth.
Would be a goal too, right? And then B, I don't understand what that means either. Integrity, we have a forest department, foresters, right? I think we could assume that the integrity of that. The viability, is it threatened?
Yes, everything's threatened.
Go ahead, Elizabeth. You had something?
Me?
Yeah, did you have something?
Yeah, I was wondering if we could, where the bold underneath the natural resources goal to support land use patterns that protect. And I would wonder if we could add something like, and renew or restore or enrich, just a term that again points to not just the status quo, but we are thinking a little bit more generously toward the generations to follow.
Go ahead, Dan.
Under item C, that conflicts with the zoning committee, with what zoning committee is doing. With the lot size reduction portion. And it conflicts with the reality on the ground that's happening in the town of Ashland, Marengo, and White River. Where families are cutting their lots down, reducing the lot sizes and letting their children build houses there. So it goes against what, I mean, it's conflicting with zoning. So maybe Bruce can explain more.
Go ahead.
I'll just add to that. So that works both ways. The zoning committee was talking about just the opposite. So right now, the way I understand it, you'd like to get rid of making small lots. But their point was, if you own a 40-acre field and you're going to build a home on it, why not make the lot as small as possible to keep all the agriculture field? So it was just the opposite of what that's saying.
And also
ahead,
in city settings, you do want to have smaller lot sizes because you might as well increase density as long as the land has been disrupted.
Right, and this is for agricultural and forest lands, so it's not going to apply to cities.
Right, but it's going to apply
but-
to the
but
townships
zoning
that are growing
could
the
have that.
fastest.
And I think with the fragmentation there is not to not go from forest to agriculture to forest to city within a 40-acre lot. A house on an agricultural zone 40 is not necessarily fragmentation, but
I just Marengo, White River and Town of Ashland are our fastest growing areas of the county.
Right.
So
did you have something, Charlie?
It doesn't say eliminate it. And I think the intention is it kind of acknowledges that that's going to happen, but let's try to do it as little as possible.
Well, and these objectives are directly from the 2026 Farmland Preservation Plan. Are there people from that committee that, weren't you on the committee?
Yes.
Do you know what that discussion was like?
Well, it's just, it's one of the 3 or 4 things that are reducing farmland. Fragmentation is a big one, and reduction, fragmentation, toxification, and one other. But to say minimize it doesn't mean eliminate it. So I guess I don't see it really as a conflict, more of like a cautionary, okay, let's look at this real close. In some cases, yeah, you've got a 40 and you're going to build your house on it. There's going to be instances where you're going to fragment the land and reduce it,
So-
no matter what this says. But
Since it was for farmland that we're thinking about to minimize fragmentation of farmland, right? That's where that came from, farmland
Mhm.
preservation. We have an agricultural resources goal. I think for simplicity, we take it out of the natural resources goal and leave it in the agricultural resources goal that says preserve the county's agricultural land base is how it starts. And then, so we're already there. So I think in the objectives down there, I think there's already advocate for zoning changes that allow, oh, well, that's different.
Isn't this one covering?
It does, but to minimize conflict with other plans, I think, yeah.
Would one way through this be just to stop after minimize land fragmentation?
That's,
Oh, and the other thing is, maybe are we actually getting at number of splits or something like that? As opposed to lot size, it's the number. But anyway, I just think it would ease things if you just minimize land fragmentation.
I'm going that way too, and just leave it where it's just the land fragmentation. We're not getting into any zoning issues. We're not getting into, we're keeping agricultural land. I think that hits it. I agree with Elizabeth there. Are we good with all 3 words, or is there one added to the actual goal? Do we just need one of those?
Yeah, which one do you prefer?
I kind of like enrich, but I'm all right with renew. I don't think restore is appropriate.
I like enrich as well.
No. Webster's Dictionary. Are we good with the objectives under this goal? Oh,
I
go ahead.
think we're good with the objectives, but we just redline reduction of lot sizes, but you're saying that's an issue.
it is because again, we have part of the county that's growing fast. And people are subdividing land or will be subdividing land for their family members to build houses on. And we don't, even if it's farmland, we don't want to tell families that they can't do that, you know?
So we have zoning currently that allows them to do that.
Yes,
Okay. So we're not minimizing or ignoring that issue. They already come to you with the zoning I want to put a house on this
No.
40,
yeah, they go to the zoning committee and
off they go.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the county I'm from, what they do is limit the number of splits. So is that is something you've been looking at, or does that happen here as well? So for every 40 acre, you only have one, if it's A1, you only have one split.
Yeah, so we don't have something like that in our ordinance right now. I know what you're talking about. I know in Dakotas, the serious farmland, they have like only 4 homes per square mile. That's how they control it. So ours is unrestricted right now. So they can put as many homes they want, but we do have a minimum lot size. And I believe our lot size is 30,000 square feet. So that's about 2/3 of an acre.
Of course, we have a conflicting situation here again. There, a month or two ago, I was contacted about all the businesses being built on farmland on South 13. Well, I dare say that I will take those businesses that are all being built on 13 from here to Marengo versus not having them. And that came up here a few months ago about, oh, we're taking a farmland away. Well, if you go from here to Marengo, check out all the new businesses in the last 5 years that have been built. Some of them are pretty small, but they're a business. And so there's where the county's got to be careful with everything in zoning and that too, because what would you rather have, a business or nothing?
or would you rather let families build more houses? I mean, oh,
And then I would throw in there too. So here's what happened. We don't have real good farmland. We're in clay soil. We have some farmland that's been farmed for years and it's getting better, you could say, because over time the soil gets better as they plow it and use it. But for the most part, we're in clay. We're not in good farm ground. But I guess my point is, if we stop people from building in a field that's considered agriculture, they're just going to clear their back 40 and make a spot for a home. So what are you gaining?
Go ahead, Rissa.
Although the purpose of a plan is to balance those competing issues. And so you need to have some actions or objectives or goals or zoning ordinances that attempt some sort of balance. Because in 10 years, we love the businesses on Highway 13, but in 10 years, it can be, a megalopolis down there because often housing then comes, or now you need another school. And next thing you know, your Highway 13 looks very different. So the purpose of the plan is to find the balance and have the wording for that over time, as well as the ordinances.
And I think getting at that, the minimizing fragmentation kind of does that, right?
yeah, for the rest of it, I'd say, could we wait until Marcus joins the committee? Because he'll have a different viewpoint living in Marengo.
Works for me.
Would it be useful to say what we're promoting? Something like encourage clustered development or something like that to minimize fragmentation, or something like that.
George?
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm uncomfortable with this whole conversation. I'm really worried about government, as a government entity, overstepping our role in terms of determining what people can do with their land. I realize there's some practical limitations, but we represent the entire county population, and there's a lot of population in this county that just wouldn't like being told what to do with their land. I'm uncomfortable with the whole subject.
Yeah, and I'd like to make one more comment on, if you look at our map of originally how this county has been broke into two districts, and unrestricted, and then the other one would be recreational residential. They already looked at this county as the growth would be alongside Highway 13, along all the way from the north to the south. But as soon as you get away from the highway, I would just say approximately 5 to 10 miles, 5 miles probably off the highway. It's not unrestricted anymore. So they already had that in plan for it to grow along the highway. Yep, that was since 1934.
I'll just say one last thing on this, like, I had an incident with the lawn police because my native plants were taller than 4 inches and we're a grass economy. Although we have native plant allowances in the city of Ashland. So the role of government is not to say, hey, you can do whatever you want. It's private property. The role of government, and a plan is a tool of a government, is to find the balance that says we have assets and things that are irreplaceable. We're just going to a lot of effort to define certain words that say these are precious assets to us, and we find the balance through a tool like a comp plan to regulate what you can and cannot do. I mean, nobody likes that, but I had to eat peas till I was 18 in my dad's house. So there's things that we are doing, and that's the role of government, is find that balance. It's not a free for all, and it's not, you can't grow native plants in your grass, but that's the balance of a plant. All in favor, say aye. Because I think that's the heart and soul of this purpose of this planning, is to try to use all of the resources that we all quote own and make sure that, I didn't just buy a 40 and someone comes in with a coal tar factory. Well, the guy's got private property. You can put a coal tar factory in there, but that's why we have zoning.
So I would just like to make a comment. We need to remember that there's different zoning departments. So the city has their own zoning. Any zoning with the county inside of city limits is only private sanitary systems. We have nothing to do with any building permits, no lawn police, no nothing. As far as letting people do with what they want, I mean, people pay taxes to own their own property. So I feel like telling people what they can and cannot do with their land is not okay. And another thing too is, by trying to put them together to congregate them, it all depends on if that next landowner, that neighbor, is willing to sell their property. You get what I mean? Like if it's multiple lots, it all depends on who's selling at what time and where they're willing to sell to.
So just to kind of bring this back in, is we're talking about a goal that supports land use patterns and protects and enriches forest and agricultural lands. We're not really getting into zoning. There is a zoning committee. I'm sure there's room on there if people want to be on the zoning committee, but we'll stay on this goal. We just don't want to do is step on the toes of what zoning committee is doing. And I think, yep. And I think what we have is, by getting rid of the reduction, which we originally said, it used to say and reduction. So minimize fragmentation and reduction of forest and agricultural lands. We're not even saying we care about if minimizing reduction anymore. We're just minimizing fragmentation as a goal. Can we agree on that one, George?
Yeah, I'm completely comfortable with minimized land fragmentation.
Are we good with the other objectives that are in there about maintaining integrity and viability, supporting the Ashland County land and water management, and leveraging the one we talked about, leveraging technology? Is there any other one? Elizabeth, you had mentioned something else that you, and okay.
I think you should also put the Ashland County Farmland Preservation Plan.
There you go.
Because the Farmland Preservation Plan always takes precedence over what's in the comprehensive plan. So you should realign these goals, objectives, and actions after this comprehensive plan update is complete.
Yep, go ahead.
Can you go back to that just for a second? So a land use pattern, we want to support a land use pattern that protects and enriches forests. I'm trying to think, what land use patterns do we have?
The comprehensive plan has a current land use pattern map in it, so it's a 2026 visual look at the land use pattern, so it has your forestry and your agricultural lands in there. So you have that as a basis to use in your comprehensive plan, in your existing land use, future land use zoning decisions.
So a land use pattern is a map, or is it a?
It's both the existing land use map is what it's called in your comprehensive plan. It's a snapshot in time of the human activity on the land in 2026.
I guess I'm just confused about what that exactly refers to.
And I think
Wait,
maybe Clem can
variable?
describe how he put that together, what the background on that is.
Yeah, well, we've kind of already gone through that, but I think for this goal, the patterns described in the goal are, I don't know.
I'm not trying to put either of you on the spot. I just want to say that right off the bat. I think you've done a wonderful job. This is more me looking at it and going, well, what does that mean? What,
It's
if
the
I was to
Well,
help, if
I-
I was to help
pattern,
support,
the human use of land. and
Right.
Classification, so zoning does not matter with the land use pattern. It's
Okay.
what's actually happening on the land.
but if I wanted
So-
to support, this implies there's more than one. And that I should try to support, what would be an example of a land use pattern?
The forest land use pattern and the agricultural land use pattern are two patterns of land use. Or you have
Right.
your housing land use pattern.
Okay. I'm not making myself clear, and I'm not clear enough myself, so.
Charlie, it gets into
I'm gonna go home and think
the
about this.
zoning, it's getting into the zoning discussion. And we don't need to get back into, but basically the development along Highway 13. That's a land use pattern.
Okay,
What we're doing is saying, hey, we want to make sure we're with forest and farmland, we want to make sure we're following these other objectives
so it's the
before
way
we.
we're letting businesses develop on 13. We have a system
let-
of style
This is
that we
focused
use.
on protection.
Countywide, but what we're saying is we're worried about areas where we can protect that, and that's going to be off of 13 because the plan already has for 13 to be developed.
So it's a process, and different processes cover different things, and that would be called a land use pattern.
Sure.
Okay. So business development on Highway 13 is not a land use pattern that enriches forests and agriculture. Not really, but we're gonna support that because that's the pattern that was established 1934, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so is there other? So that's out of the question for this, that 13 corridor.
This is countywide. That was just an example.
Yeah.
What we're really trying to do is minimize incompatible land uses. That's what we're really trying to do.
Okay.
What's not going to work together.
So we might.
That's
have
all
to-
we really care.
so
That
we
first
might have to
objective is
establish
this.
a pattern that does this. We might
It's-
have to figure one out.
No, it's already done. This map right here basically has it already done.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, let's go to natural resource goal 3.
Goal 3, this was something completely new. This is not related to the farmland preservation plan. Write a plan that sustainably develops outdoor recreation areas and facilities in Ashland County to meet the outdoor recreational needs of county residents and visitors. Objective A, identify the outdoor recreational needs in the county. B, develop a comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. C, promote the development and maintenance of quality recreation areas and parks and facilities in the county. D, identify the responsibility of the county and other governmental entities within the county to provide areas and facilities for recreational activities. E, help protect important aesthetic and environmental resources in the county for recreational uses through acquisition, easements, and zoning.
So the one thing is all of our other goals are broad, big picture ideas. And this one specifically tells us we got to do something. All the other ones are, hey, support or protect, encourage. Our goals are big. And this one says you're specifically going to do something, which does have an objective under there that's basically the same thing. Do we have, and you know, with Dan walking out, do we have staff that can do this? Are we shooting ourselves in the foot?
You're gonna have a permanent planning committee. And there's no timeline given here. You got 20 years to do it.
And there are a lot of funding opportunities that get opened up if you have such a plan.
Go ahead, Eric.
Might be a little can of worms, but 2 years ago, I applied for a federal outdoor recreation comprehensive plan grant. We did not win that grant, but today the state of Wisconsin has contacted us asking us if we would like to apply for theirs because they would like for us to be a model with the plan that we put together 2 years ago. It would be slightly competitive, but it's a way to do this cheaply. And perhaps if we don't win this year, perhaps we could apply again. If this is something that we want to do, I think this would be something that we can do.
I think from our previous meetings over the last 2 years, I think this has been a big thing that we want to do. I know George has been pushing for this for a while. And so I think it's great to have a goal. I just wondered, do we want to rephrase that a plan to something else just because this is telling us we got to do something?
No, we applied to be helped to create one. We said we had an intention to create one as
So
a county.
if George's explanation, I'm fine with it. Hey, we got a committee.
I mean, I think
They
10
could do
years
it.
is a long window to get this done. I think we could do it.
Everybody all right? I'm not running for reelection, so I'm not gonna. But Bruce lives in my district, and so he might write me in. So, and it only takes 2 votes. So you get my wife and Bruce, and it's done.
We were thinking of making a subcommittee and making you chair while you weren't there anyways.
Perfect.
Any changes to this one?
So we're all good with this one? Oh,
Maybe just instead of write a plan, like increase recreational capacity, outdoor recreational capacity by assessing needs and developing solutions or something. The forestry department has a recreational segment. There is not a plan. So when I was working with Southern Ashland County communities that wanted to do multi-use trails and develop a connected system, we couldn't even go for the money because the first requirement in most grants is, where's your recreational plan that shows support? So I think this increasing capacity could be a better catch-all goal.
go ahead, George.
Yeah, we have some new members on the forestry committee who would really like to do this. And I would really prefer to not let it be vague. So I'm in favor of this. I could go with, oh, we moved on to the next agenda?
Nope. It just was edited based off Alyssa's suggestion there.
Oh.
Increase outdoor recreation capacity by developing needs and creating a plan that sustainably develops instead of write a plan. It's creating a plan.
Yeah, I was much happier with the original version. It's very explicit. It's something we can bring up in the forestry committee and really talk about. Becomes generalized. It's non-active. It's kind of like, okay, let's develop things.
I actually, Control Z there. Oh,
Oh,
you might have to do the redo button. Uh-oh.
oh shit.
It's gone forever.
Wait, just give it
There
some
you go, right
time.
there. Right there. Leave it like that. With right. Oh, you could have left with increase outdoor recreation capacity and developing needs and creating a
Isn't
plan
it?
is more specific than right to me. Especially when the objective is develop an outdoor recreation, a comprehensive outdoor recreation plan.
And the only reason I made it bigger like that is a plan is only one part. That's just one thing. That helps you get your foot in the door. But you've got a whole lot of other things that you can do to increase your recreational capacity.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to set the big stage of multitude of things you can do, one of which is B, that you have to do first is develop your outdoor rec plan.
Developing the plan is something that most of the people in this room could do. I don't know how many of us will be around to do all the rest of all the pieces.
Right.
Like I think that's going to be the hard part.
This is Elizabeth Franick. I've been really silent. I've been listening and everything, and I've been looking at all the stuff. I'm hoping that we can, if we can put something in our comprehensive plan regarding our natural resources and land use and all that. People are really scared about this project that's here now, the pipeline. And, they're scared that if this is here now, what's next? Is there anything that we can, talk about or put in the comprehensive planning that would give us more guidelines? Because people don't know what to think. They're trying to blame certain things, and they're scared about this project, and they don't know what's going to happen, and they're saying that it's going to affect habitat. It's going to, it's here and everything. What is our way of working with these companies that we can ensure that they apply all our guidelines for the future? I'm not sure how to word it, but to work with more county officials, people are worried about all this big group that's coming, and it's going to affect possibly housing. It just, overall, everything in the area is going to be affected by this population influx. We're already seeing it working in a restaurant. It's something that we don't know the answers, so we're all afraid. So if we had more education from these companies and their goals and how they will help us work through these issues, something in that effect. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. I think we kind of have that under goal 1 with the protection of habitat, water quality, educational methods to protect natural resources. I think that's all kind of already encompassed in the goal number 1 that we kind of talked about.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Charlie.
I think we take natural resources goal number 3 and we make it a new employee's job description. And we put them over in land conservation. Next to Scott.
Is the city of Ashland going to pay for that new job position?
Well, Ashland has a Parks and Rec department. The county doesn't have a equal thing. And I think hired one person to do that. And then also they would then follow up on it, maintain it.
I-
keep it going.
While I agree with you, I understand the limitations of county hiring, and we probably don't have that. But as a committee, we can continue to encourage grants that maybe help show that this position could be self-funded in the future, and maybe
I'm just thinking
in the
who-
future, we work towards it. I think that's my fear
be a
too.
bunch
It's,
of red dots.
that's my fear as well.
I
Is-
don't see that as a problem. We already know there's a grant. We contracted out. We're getting the comprehensive plan written. There's ways to get it done. If we think it's important to get done, we'll get it done, or ought to. And we can do it with volunteers if need be.
So. All right, are we good with the last goal? Charlie, we're not gonna add that we're gonna hire somebody as an objective. When we get to action steps, we can bring it back up. But
Agricultural resources?
um, I do want to be cognizant of your time. What time were you guys wanting to wrap up?
Do you want to do this until 4 p.m.? Does that work for people?
It's really, I don't care about anybody else. I only care about the people that gotta travel. Everybody else can walk out, but if you're good till 4,
Seems like you're on a roll.
okay. See if we can get a few more done then. Agricultural.
Wait, are you back on natural resources? Which part? Oh, that's the official term, the corp. Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan. Identify and develop.
Yeah, one's needs, one's plan.
Agricultural resources goal, preserve the county's agricultural land base to protect the county's aesthetics, rural character, and agricultural heritage for future generations. A, review ordinances to protect land, water, and air quality in advance of potential increase in industrial agriculture in the county. For example, manure storage, CAFOs, etc. In advance of
Are these directly from the farmland preservation as well?
these are directly from the Farmland Preservation Plan. B, encourage and support economically sustainable small farms and farmers, including the next generation of farmers. C, promote local food production and value-added agricultural products to increase the availability of fresh, healthy, and culturally relevant food for all residents, and decrease the distance food travels from farm to fork. D, promote increased purchases of local and regionally produced food. Which there's a comment of by whom, locals or for export, for D.
Oh. I think if the farmland preservation has it just as in it promote increased purchases of local and regionally produced food, I think we promote the local food. Doesn't matter who wants to buy it.
And then E, support existing and the creation of new agriculture-related infrastructure in the county, such as food a food processing facility, food storage facilities, distribution providers, and marketing programs. F, support the operation of existing farms and encourage the creation of new farms. G, enhance the preservation and protection of agriculturally productive soils. H, minimize water pollution and erosion from farmland and prioritize waters listed on the 303D list. I, increase the number of acres of agricultural land that is voluntarily protected through farmland conservation programs. J, encourage the county's continued support of agricultural and technical staff. K, advocate for zoning changes that allow more residential zoning options.
And Erica's comment there on, doesn't this go against the spirit of the ag resources goal? I think we're getting back into zoning again.
Yeah, why don't we just strike that whole sentence?
I think just strike that sentence. Go ahead, George.
Most of these I'm fine with. I'm interested in discussing the possibility, including something about agricultural voltaics, the combination of solar field with operational agriculture, because I see it as a potential way of enabling small farms to exist by having a low-level steady income from electricity generation at the same time they can farm the land. That type of development is a little bit more expensive than a classic solar field that just covers the field of the solar panels. But I think it's something that we ought to be looking into anyway, and maybe we should put it in the plan that we would be evaluating the potential for agrivoltaics.
Just real quick, did we already talk about utilities? Because I thought we had something in when we talked about utilities as an objective for something like that.
I think we would, hold on a second.
Yes, that's the section before the one we're on right now.
I just wonder if we're duplicating ourselves.
Yes, if I remember right, in the farmland preservation, did they allow for this already? That you could put solar as long as it was feeding the farm. I think there is something.
I would just like something about agrivoltaics under agricultural resource.
Works for me. Anybody?
I'm wondering if we want to even make that a little broader for wind or other renewable options.
Good point. Another source of good income. If wind works for a farmer, it's just one fairly steady source of income to underwrite the risk and volatility of farming income. Voltaic refers to solar.
Right.
I think the term usually refers to solar, so I think it's a good point to say evaluate the potential for wind or agrivoltaics, wind and solar on small farms for a baseline income. Not sure it'll work, but if we could encourage it and it was practical, it could be a real important thing for small farmers.
Absolutely. Brad, can I say a word?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was wondering if you could scroll up and read the bold place kind of overview again. Yeah, thank you.
Preserve the county's agricultural land base to protect the county's aesthetics, rural character, and agricultural heritage for future generations.
I think that's a little weak. It sounds kind of romantic or something, like it's just so beautiful to have farms or something. And I think we should be serious about the actual need for food to be grown near where we live. So, and I also would again say protecting is one level of, but we could also this is where regeneration of farmland is important. So I would add something like preserve the county's ag land base to something about resiliency for future food access, whatever. Yeah, because it's also an economic generator, which I think is important to mention here. So I don't have the words, but those are I would like to see it do better than protect, and then mention the kind of harder hitting things that ag does for us, which is economic and it's something of a climate change, it's this resiliency move too.
Need something in between access and the county's aesthetic.
Pardon?
I think a lot of the county population appreciates living in a rural county as well, so I think that's good to keep that in. I think so. We do have a member of the public we could just ask. Bruce, do you think the aesthetics and rural character is an important part of the county? Should it be in our goal then for this agriculture? Putting you on the spot. And that's how I feel. I think that that's part of the goal. I know it's romanticized, but I think we just need a word in between because it doesn't, and future access. Something
to food.
Future access to food while maintaining the county's aesthetic rule. But does that change it when we while maintaining? Very. Oh, I lost my spot. Maybe that would, yeah, local food production and access. I think that works for me. George, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the word of maintaining the county's aesthetics. I mean, I'm really concerned about aesthetics being really important, but we have some people think windmills are beautiful and some people hate them. Some people think solar fields are wonderful and some people hate them. They are not our old school aesthetics. They would be changed. They might be beautiful, but they're not maintaining red barns and 6 foot tall corn.
While protecting? Is that
Go back
better?
to the original.
I like protecting, but I'm concerned about it being too backward looking. Aesthetics change. I want, how do we say that we're protecting aesthetics without limiting some beautiful future that we haven't thought of yet?
Well, I think it gets back to what Lisa was saying about our goal is to balance that. And so what that balance is may change, but I think while protecting, we have to have something between the food part and then the rest of it. It doesn't fit otherwise. And so if there's another verb you want in there. Other than protecting?
I don't have a better word, no.
Okay. Enhancing.
In fairness, people who love Red Barns, mine fell down. Sustaining and enhancing would be good. Sustaining our aesthetics, but enhancing. It looks to the future. Or I'm happy with enhancing, but I think sustaining and enhancing would be good.
Anything about the objectives of the goal here? Yes, Charlie.
Can you go back down to the bottom, please?
Mm-hmm.
I think K, advocate for zoning changes that allow more residential zoning options. I'm 95% confident when we talked about that at Farmland Preservation. We were trying to account for the growth of residents in a smart way, to let them expand into agriculture, but look at it and make sure we're doing it in the least destructive way. So it wasn't trying to get into zoning. It was definitely from a farmland preservation point of view. Having said that, if you want to nuke it, that's okay with me. But that's one of the things that and that's why it was listed in so many places. And then go back up again, please. A little bit to B. We could easily put in there, try to find the next generation farmer. Because the way things are going now, the way things have naturally fallen out is not encouraging to farm, to creating people who want to farm. I think Lissa will agree with me 100%. It's just a roulette wheel of variability, and some people make it and they make it for 10 minutes, and some people don't bother to try, they quit and nobody takes over. So the real struggle is not preserving farmland, it's preserving farmers. And if we don't take care of that, if we don't try to do something with that, and that's basically what this whole list of stuff is doing, is it's telling you the problems, and that if you could find the answer to, that would create a suitable economic environment where minded people would go farm. Can you make a nickel? Can you pay your health insurance? Right now, it's a labor of love from people who have other jobs. My dad used to work on the railroad so he could make hay, and that was 40 years ago. So we really get serious about this particular one here, and we can find some solutions. We might actually get farmers. We might create farmers. Otherwise, we're just observing the death of farming.
Go ahead.
Point taken. I think that's wise. So what if we just added including recruiting and retaining the next generation of farmers?
Recruitment and retention, or I think that, our goal or objective is to do this. The action plan could be where we come up with the specific thing that we want to do. Yeah, and that's the hard part, is the action plan. We haven't even started talking about the action steps. What are we actually going to do? And realizing that we're limited on time, staff, resources, and all that goes with that. But I think you're right that that's going to be the issue. And hopefully with having this plan, that at least people know that if they want to come here, they're going to get supported by at least the county to do that.
Maybe in F, You say support the operation of existing farms and encourage the creation of new farms and farmers.
There you go.
And then while we're here, I've noticed a couple of times, and I appreciate the contributions of the ag review team, but Jay says encourage the county's continued support of ag and tech staff. And then the first action 40 is maintaining funding to Land and Water Conservation Department. I don't know, are they overlapping each other? Or is one just the county's going to continue to support ag and technical staff? That means not county staff? You see what I'm saying? Like the action number 40 is maintain funding to Land and Water Conservation. And I don't know how extension got in there, but that was nice. But J is encourage the county's continued support of ag and tech staff. I just wonder if they're saying the same thing or if there's some.
Yeah.
It's like a tool to do the support.
Yeah, the
seems like
action
a-
steps are how we get to the
Yeah.
objectives.
Those just seem so close that it seemed like you could do without one or the other.
Oh, yeah.
And it's mentioned again in goal 1 on page 10.4. But I realized the ag was cut and paste from a couple of different plans, if I remember correctly.
Right.
So there is some redundance. We'll save that for next time. Like looking for redundancies in the actions.
But next time, there are still the economic development, intergovernmental cooperation, land use, and then a planned maintenance goals and objectives sections. And then we can get to the action plans. And maybe we need to start with the actions and do the plan part, how and when you're gonna do it at a separate time.
I do think that if everybody's all right with this one now, if we're good here, if we try to get the cultural resources, then we at least get this one section done.
Let's do that.
And while it's scrolling, I was just on a long road trip and went to this small little town in Nevada, and they had a website with all their historical places as we're going to a cultural thing with a little like storyboard. You go and you could go to the spot, you click on it and it tells everything. I think Ashland County could really benefit from something like that. And I think it falls under the recreation plan and the cultural resources goal. And it was really cool for this small town to have this really well-developed website. Another thing, we can find a grant and somebody to do it, but it's not going to be me.
That's what we
Because-
pay the chamber for.
Yes, but it was really cool. Like we spent a lot more time in this little tiny town than we ever thought we would have. We were just like, oh, this is a good spot to stop for lunch. And then we stayed there for like 3 hours looking at this little town. And it wasn't any bigger than Mellon. So.
And cultural resources, promote and preserve the county's cultural resource base.
Throw in the word enhance and I'm happy.
I agree. And enhance. Promote, preserve, and enhance.
Supporting objectives, A, collaborate with the historical societies in the county and the Bad River Tribal Historic Preservation Officer. B, increase the awareness of and protection of local historic and archaeological resources. C, increase the number of historic sites in the county which are listed on the National Register of Historic Places and or on the State Register of Historic Places. D, support county libraries and the Northern Waters Library Service.
Go ahead, Charlie.
We already, the county supports libraries in Northern Waters through a financial donation, right?
Yeah, we're required to by statute. It's actually a separate part of our levy.
It's actually what?
It's a separate part. It's an addition to our normal levy.
Okay.
So if we levy $9 million for normal operations, we can, the library requests go above that. They get added on top of it. So we are, and we, just like if when Ashland County resident goes to say Park Falls and checks out a book, we have to pay the Park Falls Library.
Okay.
So we
don't wanna
already,
take
we
this
do
out.
that, and that's by
No.
statute.
Thought this was bad.
No, there's just a comment there that says action step is needed below on this, that we should put an action step on there,
All right.
was the comment.
Well, that would be, it's already an action step, right?
Yeah. Right.
So that would be a green dot.
That's a green dot,
Excellent.
but we could always do more. Libraries are important. I would like something about promoting. That's what I thought is that. The continued support of county historic preservation organizations and county libraries. No, that. Oh, yes, that one. Yeah, the first one there. Go ahead, Erica.
All of them except what A through D, can you scan back up, please? A, B, and C are all very historically retroactive, looking backward. And we actually have several cultural resources, I would say, in our county that are actively adding to everything that we do, right? Our music scene, our art scene, our like literally everything. The presence of Bad River tribal members throughout the rest of the county, kind of all of that. So I don't know how that then gets put into action steps, but I would love to see something more than just supporting the libraries as being a forward-looking thing.
Yeah, so some sort of objective on like talking about marketing and education of historic, but also not just historic, but just cultural resources, full stop, but to make mention of the events that go on.
I know there was the city was talking a few years ago about a plan to change the signage in the area to reflect our cultural resource would be the Ojibwe language. I'm not sure if that's still a plan in the future, if the county has any involvement in that, or does the city have any involvement in that? Charlie, have you heard anything?
So Liz, I think you're talking about down by LCO that they are going through and changing county or city street signs with the Ojibwe language signs.
This was when I was on city council. They were talking about it in our
Charlie's
area.
gonna answer here. Use your microphone, Charlie.
I'm drawing a blank, but the city is planning on applying the Native American names to something. I can't remember what. I apologize, but yes, the city is doing something in that line. I can't remember. Oh, because I'm old. That's it. But other things, I mean, we have the fair. We have Aged Iron Show that's like 15 years old now, maybe more. There's lots of cultural things going on to your point. So we could make a list, I suppose. And
I guess I might also suggest for all of these goals that we look at the updated part one of the plan, or what used to be part one of the plan is now everything is flipped. Because it might spark ideas for goals and action steps
Right.
by looking at what the actual facts on the ground are, because that's been radically updated by NWRPC since 2016.
So, you had anything else? Emily?
Well, if we're done with the cultural resources, that was one of the agenda items, was the reminder of the background elements on our website. If people have input, please send that to Northwest Regional Planning. You can email that to me. The link is in your packet. You've received separate emails about where to find all of the elements. And I know that there are some topical items that people were assigned to, but please look at everything.
Right. Yes, so homework is before the 24th to make sure we continue looking at the goals, start looking at the action plans, but really put time into the draft plan elements. That on the agenda is the link, right? That's the right link.
Yes.
What's on the agenda is the link. That's homework for next week. I'm gonna try to do that. Hopefully everybody else can make.
And know that they're constantly evolving. And it's, if you go to the nwrpc.com and the services, it's the very first planning project.
It's a lot. I mean, I'm warning people. I would say if you don't have several hours to read the entire thing, then do what your area of assignment is, right? I mean, I have gone over this for days and days, adding stuff in addition to what Northwest Regional has done.
Yeah, the most important part is all of the knowledge and expertise that you all bring to the plan. Just makes it that much better.
Is 2 o'clock still work for everybody? Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. 2:30 is better for me. Are you guys all right being a little bit later? Oh, you want me?
2:30 is
Well,
perfect. I can work till 2.
We have our semi-annual meeting on the 24th. But it seems like you get a lot of work done when you have Northwest Regional Planning to be able to document everything. Like, I see the difference.
You didn't want to be here either?
Is there a better option? Can we define the next meeting date no matter what
Yes.
today?
That messes me up. Well, can we do 2:30 to 4:30 as opposed to 2 to 4? Yeah, new day. The 24th doesn't work. I can do the first. No, I can do the 2nd of July.
Anybody available on the
Can't.
Thursday, that 25th? No?
Let me pull it.
I mean, that is the July 4th weekend. Are people gonna be around?
Right. All right. Can we double up and do 23rd?
July 23rd,
June 23rd
June 23rd.
with the county board meeting, or is there something in here?
No, there's nothing on my calendar yet.
Is the 23rd work for everybody? Melissa, does that work for you? No.
sorry?
2 to 4 would work better because at 4:30 I have music practice.
I hate that. I hate that. I like right now, if I don't take more time off, I'm off and for the year, but December 11th would be December 10th, my last day of work if I don't go. And I just took 2 weeks off. But 23rd,
And do you want Northwest Regional Planning to attend, or do you want me to make sure everything or make sure everything is on your shared drive and get to Carisha? Like, what's your preference? We can do whichever is your preference.
Right, I guess if I take the time to type up and have the Word documents,
Okay.
that'd be wonderful. Anytime I can get out of work, I'm all about it.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds very good.
All right, so we're going for the 23rd. There's two, well, I wish Gary was here, because since Gary's gonna have to be up here for the county board meeting, is he gonna stick around?
He can.
George,
See him in the morning.
George, Terrence, you like all day in Ashland? You got the ferry, or you gotta go back home? Cause I'm skipping the morning meeting. I'm not going to that meeting.
I'll talk to Gary in the morning.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah. Paul,
I'll be
you
there
got the
for a
ferry, right?
majority of the
Oh.
meeting on the phone, so don't worry about my schedule. If
All right,
it's
thanks.
Tuesday, that works better for the work schedule too.
At 2:30 or 2?
Either one.
Paul, you got the ferry ride. What do you? What's better, getting done at 4 or 4:30? Okay. All right, 2:00. 2:00.
All right, I'll let Gary know tomorrow. If there's a problem, I'll email everybody.
On the 23rd. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn since we didn't technically finish and a second. Don't need a vote. We got that. Thank you. See you next week.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.